All right, talking Red Sox now with Nick Friar, WSAR Radio, New Bedford Standard Times. All right, Eduardo Nunez brought back to the Red Sox. Pretty productive with the team last year. He, of course, had the injury that slowed him down in the playoffs, eventually ending his season. Do you like this one-year deal? How does it impact the team?
I like it because they went through extensive tests this time around, whereas last year we saw him try and get pushed back into the postseason, actually pushed back into the regular season way too early. Eduardo Nunez is one of those guys that on that team last year, one of my favorite guys to watch. He's a talented player, but not an overwhelming talent, so he still has to put a little extra work in. I like him. I like his attitude. I think he brings a nice veteran presence to this clubhouse, something that these guys need, although they're trying to develop their leadership. Having another older guy who's also good makes a big difference, and he'll fill that hole for Pedroia early on.
So we'll plug him in at second base until Pedroia is back. If or when Pedroia gets to full speed, where does that put Nunez? Is he just the utility guy? And when do you expect to see Pedroia back?
That definitely complicates things to address the Nunez part first. You have Devers, who you're hoping is going to be kind of like what he was like last year. I would think maybe Moreland takes a little bit of a backseat. Nunez is very versatile, and Hanley Ramirez is saying that he wants to play 150, 158 games this year at first base. I don't know how realistic that is, but I like where his head's at going into the season. Regarding Pedroia, look, Pedroia is the kind of guy who's like, you know what, I'm fine, rub some dirt on it, I'm going to be back out there. He said at the end of the year last year that he really needed to think about it, be a little bit smarter about it, and I think he's maturing, and it's about time. But I don't expect Pedroia to necessarily be ready by opening day, and I think the Red Sox have to, think we can't bank on that. That's why we have to go get a guy like Nunez right now when he's available, if he's healthy and ready to go by the time the season starts.
All right, Eric Hosmer, once thought to be a recruit of the Red Sox, signing with the Padres today. How, if at all, does that affect the Red Sox pursuit of J.D. Martinez?
I would like to tell you, Yanni, that it's going to make a big difference and that Martinez is going to sign with the Red Sox tomorrow, but I really don't think that's the case. J.D. Martinez has made it clear he will wait and wait and wait some more until, whenever he gets the deal that he wants, that he believes he gets, that Scott Boras has told him he deserves to get. So I can't imagine it happening anytime soon. I mean, nothing has changed. But then again, Hosmer had kind of died down a little bit, and now it looks like, and now he's got a deal. So things could change in an instant, but I don't think this has a direct effect.
This offseason in Major League Baseball, where all these high, big-name free agents aren't signed into spring training, is this the new normal, or is this just an aberration this year?
Dave Dombrowski told us at the winter meetings he expected a lot of these deals to happen in January, and here we are in February, and a lot of guys still aren't getting signed. Some guys aren't even getting offers who are legitimate free agents. Some guys in the top 10 free agent class. I don't know if this is the new norm, but it can't continue to be like this, because this will create issues within Major League Baseball in the fan base too. Because look, the fans want some action in the offseason. As much as football's there and everybody cares about football most pretty much, you still want some deals going down. You want to see your team making improvements. When this kind of stuff happens, fans get frustrated with the players too, just as much as they do with the owners.
All right, Dustin Pedroia mentioned this week that he's the leader of this team, but he thinks the younger guys will step up to the plate. Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts said there was some tension in the clubhouse last year. The wave of guys, the Betts, the Bogaerts, who have been here 3-4 years now, is it time for them to assume leadership roles? Because since Ortiz left, no one's really taken that role. Absolutely.
Xander Bogaerts is the guy who I've been waiting to kind of become a leader, especially when I was with him a lot in 2016. He's a very smart guy. He's very cerebral, very impressed by him. I want to see him take control. Now, look, you don't need everybody to play the same role. You don't everybody need to be that loud, vocal guy. Some can be the voice of reason. I think Mookie Betts is kind of a guy who's more lead by example, maybe help a guy out in a quiet moment. He's not going to yell. He's a very mild-mannered individual. And at the same time, Bogaerts is not Dustin Pedroia, and he's not David Price. And David Price in some ways is a leader on this team, not always in a good way as we saw last year, but he could, if he goes and changes ways, we'll see. He's making it kind of sound like he will. That can make a big difference too. But yeah, Bogaerts is the guy who needs to take that step forward and help Pedroia out, and whoever that leading pitcher is, if it's Sale or Price or whoever.
Does the fact that they won 93 games and won the division with clubhouse tension good for this year's team because they have a new manager, seemingly a clean slate? Or is it bad because it's literally the same roster as last year?
I mean, look, this is a team, like you said, Yanni, they won 93 games. I mean, you can't really take anything away from them when it comes to that. Chris Sale was awesome. He fizzled out at the end of the year. David Price wasn't there. He wasn't really on this team last year. Yeah, he was good in the postseason. He was relieving at the end, but he wasn't really a part of last year's team. So I can't see how it would be a negative that there was a negative atmosphere last year and they still played well.
Right.
And then they're coming into this year when things are going well. I mean, you know, I understand that stats say there's no momentum isn't something you can really account for, but having, you know, good chemistry within the team, even though baseball is such an individual team sport, it makes a huge difference for how the guys play behind each other, how they're feeling, their confidence at their plate,
Right.
they approach everything. The game just kind of slows down in a way for them.
All right, let's switch gears to the Boston Celtics. Tonight, of course, is the NBA All-Star Game. Kyrie Irving and Al Horford playing in that one. Sputtering down the stretch, now in second behind Toronto. We know Cleveland is probably still the favorite, even though they're in third place. How worried are you about the Celtics right now?
You know, at first I was a little concerned, but then I realized Marcus Smart, you know, who's dealing with that hand injury, as much as he's, you know, it wasn't a smart decision on his end, to say the least.
Right.
I'm thinking, you know, when he gets back, we're going to see their defense pick things up because that's the big thing with them, Yanni, right now. You know, they go and let up, 121 to the Cavaliers. That was the most to that point in the season they'd let up to any team. Then the next night out, the next game against the Clippers, they let up even more points.
Right.
So, I mean, the defense right now is the biggest issue. And when Marcus Smart's in that lineup, look, he makes a lot of dumb decisions on offense. You're not going to get any argument from me on that. But when it comes to him on defense, you know, I feel more confident with him than anybody else on the floor, and I feel like he's the cornerstone of that defense. You need him out there, and once he's back, this team will look a bit different.
All right, I like that. Optimistic with Marcus Smart coming back. All right, Nick Friar, thanks so much for joining us on the Sunday Night Sports Wrap, and we'll have much more coming up right after this.